Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how you can solo queue through Platinum rank and into Diamond rank completely solo in Apex Legends Season 7. Now, I know a lot of people solo queue ranked and it is extremely frustrating. So in this guide, I'm going to be giving you 6 specific tips that have helped me solo queue in Apex Legends ranked. Now, these tips can apply to mostly all of the rank levels. So if you're not in Platinum and you're in Gold trying to get to Platinum, all of these things will still apply. It's just the higher you go up in the ranks, the smarter you need to play, and the better you need to play it, obviously. So if anyone's new and isn't already subscribed, I hope you will consider subscribing so you don't miss out on more Apex content. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to slap a like on it because it does help the video. Alright guys, let's get into it. Alright guys, the first tip I have for you is get used to playing other legends. And the good legends, not the bad ones. I don't know who needs to hear this, but stop picking Octane, Mirage, Loba, Rampart, and even Bangalore and Watson in these ranked lobbies. If your random teammate takes your main, let's say it's Wraith or Bloodhound or something, then you need to play another legend that is going to strongly suit your team's composition. So getting used to playing Gibraltar or Crypto or Pathfinder or Caustic or some of the meta legends is really important. Just because somebody takes your main, don't sabotage the team, and definitely get used to playing other legends. And there's 2 reasons for that. One is you'll know how to combat a good Caustic if you know how to play Caustic. And the other thing is you want to make sure that you set your team up for the highest level of success. And there is a certain meta that is going on in Apex, especially the higher up in the ranks you go. And it's important that you can equalize the team compositions by usually having similar or the same legends. So if you constantly are getting scanned by a Bloodhound and you don't have a Bloodhound or a Crypto, it's important that you have one of those legends, if that makes sense. So getting used to playing other legends and playing them well is really important when it comes to solo queuing. You'll see in this guide, I play Caustic, Revenant, Bloodhound, Wraith. I mean, I play just about everybody when it comes to this because you don't always get your legend. And yes, some legends are going to be better for solo queuing than others, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. You know, you're going to need to be able to get the RP that you need, and you're going to need to be able to get the kills you need. Another thing, this is the second tip. Stop landing on your teammates. This is the biggest fault I see when I solo queue rank. Teammates don't look around, they don't understand where people are, and they don't understand how to cut off enemies' loot patterns. So if you're landing in somewhere like Skyhook like I am here, it's important you guys spread out for 2 reasons. One, you cut off your enemy's loot, you and your teammates get more spread out, so you have a higher chance of getting loot that you guys need. Whereas if all 3 of you land on 1 or 2 buildings, I mean, you're all just going to have to share that loot. And let's say you're going against a team that landed on 3 buildings. Well, they have more loot, so they probably have more resources, which means the longer the fight goes on, they're probably going to beat you that way. Or they're just going to have better weapons and better armor, unless you get really, really lucky off spawn. So look around, understand how many teams are landing with you, or in the same POI, or even perhaps even close to you, and then loot according to that. You guys want to spread out, but if you are being contested off drop, then it is important that you land somewhat close. Once again, I don't recommend landing completely on top of one another. This topic is subject to a lot of change because there's a lot of factors when it comes to landing on certain POIs and how many teams are landing with you and where are they landing. But for the most part, don't ever land exactly on your teammate because it's really not going to be good for you for the first fight, and it's not going to be good for your teammate as well. You guys are going to have to share the loot and so on and so forth. And on the topic of landing with multiple teams, it's really, really important that you guys understand if you're the first team to fight, you're most likely going to get third-partied by the third team. So don't be super eager to engage in a fight with the first team if you know there's another team really close. I mean, ranked is crazy with the third parties. It's actually just people prey on it. So that's how people play. It's sometimes, yeah, it's the smart way to play. So you really need to anticipate that. There were so many games where we would land somewhere and there would be multiple teams in the area, but we would have enough time to loot and get our stuff together. And then we would know that a third party would be there, and one of my teammates would engage as if as if we had the freest fight in the world, and it just wasn't the case. And so we would die to the third parties often. And so it's really, really important that you play smart. the kill points that you get, you only need 5, right? So you don't need to rush to get it off drop. If it's just you and another team, yeah, certainly take the fight. But if you land in Skyhook like I did and there was multiple teams, I'm not necessarily referring to this clip. There were plenty of other times where we landed Skyhook and there were multiple teams and we took fights too early in the wrong places and just got immediately third partied. You know, don't do that. Play smarter. Understand that if you fight, you're going to die to the third party. It doesn't matter if you win it because you're going to die right after. And if you die with 2 or 3 kill points with 16 squads left, you're still losing RP. And that's a waste of time. So really understanding that it's not always necessarily about, can I win this fight? It's about, is this the smart play for RP? Because for me, when it comes to solo queuing, it's about the amount of time I spend playing ranked and the amount of RP I'm gaining. I don't want to solo queue for 8 hours and gain a couple hundred RP. You know what I mean? Like, I want to just get it done and I want to move on through the ranks. So it's totally up to you and your play style, but if that's how you want to play, then, you know, play really smart. Understand the situation. The more experience you have solo queuing, the better of a player you will be when it comes to playing ranked. And stop blaming your teammates for something. This is my other point. You really got to get in the habit of not blaming teammates. I see this all the time. People are like, my teammates are trash. My teammates are this and teammates are that. Well, maybe they are, but you whining about it doesn't do any good. You really need to try to be the best player for your team if that's how it's going to be. If you think you're the best player on your team, if you're always calling your teammates trash, then you need to be the best player on your team. So that means doing as much as you possibly can. And a lot of times, yeah, you're going to fall short and it's going to suck. But that doesn't mean blaming your teammates is going to get you any better or it's going to put you in any better of a position. If you really think you're the alpha of the team, then act like it. Because these are randoms. These aren't your friends. So they don't really owe you anything. And you don't know their playstyle. You don't know how good they actually are. Maybe they don't deserve to be in the rank they're in or whatever. But that doesn't matter. You still have to try to be the best player for your team. And that's what I encourage. If you're going to solo queue, try to be the best player. Unless you clearly know you're queued up with, like, you know, somebody else who's really good, follow their lead. But if you think you're the best player on the team, try to lead the team. Here's my next tip. Try to establish voice communication with your teammates. If it goes sour, then unfortunately just kind of do your own thing. Like, try to be there with your team, but don't necessarily, you know, feel like you have to die for them. If they're being toxic or whatever, then I understand not wanting to associate with them in terms of voice communication or even trying to do the things that they're doing. But if they're listening and you guys can all kind of get onto the same page of understanding what one another is doing, it's really important and you'll find more success, I find. Now, I know on console it's a bit different. People can be in like parties and whatnot. But if you're playing on PC, usually people will be able to communicate even if they are in a Discord or whatever. And I'll be honest, yeah, sometimes it goes terrible. Sometimes people are toxic and sometimes it's not worth your time. But 60-70% of the time, people are decent and they want to win the game just like you do. So I encourage you to try to establish the voice communication. And if it goes sour, it goes sour, but at least you tried. Now, on to my next point. If you feel like a teammate is going to do something really stupid and they're going to die for it, do not follow them. For example, there were a couple games where I had a couple teammates separately take a balloon into a hectic fight and die very quickly. Now, don't follow your teammates if they're going to do something like that without pinging anything, without communicating through their mic about what they're doing or about what the situation is. I mean, don't just follow them. Play smarter than that. That may sound really obvious, but I mean, I see it a lot of the time. One teammate goes into a fight overextended, they die. Then the second one goes in, they die. And then the third one goes in and they die. Well, you just gave the enemy team three 3-on-1s. Because first guy went, he died. Second guy went, he died. Third guy went, he died. Yeah, so don't play like that. If your teammates are doing something stupid and they're not communicating anything and you need to get the RP, don't follow them. But I don't want that message to be misconstrued as saying, like, don't fight with your teammates. There are really smart fights to take, and then there are really dumb fights to take. And if you see one of your teammates going in to do something stupid, don't feel obligated to follow them. That's all I'll say. And then to my last point, which is this. I see a lot of people running range in ranked. So they may have like a sniper, they may have like a hemlock or R3 or a scout, something from mid range or long range, and then a close range gun. And I think that's ideal. If you're going to be establishing taking fights from a distance, don't run an R99 and a shotgun. Run something like an R301 or a hemlock or a scout or a triple take. Something where you can do damage from far away. A lot of fights in ranked, especially this split for some reason, are long distance fights, which isn't super common in public matches or in other sort of play styles. So get used to that. Don't just run close range guns if most of the fights you're taking aren't close range. Now, by all means, if your team is going to be running and gunning every game and up in people's faces, then yeah, use the guns that are suitable for that. But if you're solo queuing, it's going to be really hard to predict how your playstyle is going to be, because theoretically every game you're going to have different teammates. So once again, use that tip up to your discretion. But if you feel like you're not good with weapons from mid-range, then I encourage you to get good with them and practice with them, because it's a really important skill set to have. Now, I know I threw a lot of tips out there, and some people hopefully can learn a thing or two from what I'm explaining. A lot of this comes from, years of experience playing ranked and, hundreds and hundreds of matches, that I feel like these tips were pretty general, but can also be applied to you guys if you're learning on how to get better, or you want to learn on how to get better playing solo rank. It's really frustrating, right? There's a lot of times where I'm just like, this isn't worth it. And it isn't a lot of the times, if I'm being honest, but I did it because I wanted to make this video ultimately, and I wanted to show you guys that, it is possible, and that there are certain tactics that I needed to apply in order to make it happen. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me. Let me know down in the comment section what you think about these tips and if they apply to you. Once again, if you're not already subscribed, I hope you will consider subscribing so you don't miss out on more Apex content. And don't forget to slap a like on the video. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.